In this lecture, we'll be looking at the definition and characteristics of gymnosperms, their classification, reproductive cycle, adaptation, economic importance, ecological role, and conservation. You know that plant kingdom is divided into two major groups based on the absence of seeds or presence of seeds. We have already discussed main divisions under the plants who do not have seeds, and now we are going to talk about the seed plants, which are gymnosperms and angiosperms. So today we are talking about gymnosperms. The main difference between gymnosperms and angiosperms is that the gymnosperms do not have flowers or fruits. So gymnosperms are non-flowering plants with exposed seeds, whereas the seeds in the angiosperms are enclosed and protected inside a fruit. The gymnosperms have seeds on the cones and they are not enclosed in a fruit. They have vascular tissue because they are more evolved than the pteridophytes. In pteridophytes, we already have developed the vascular system. Gymnosperms are mostly woody and they are shrub-like. They originated about 300 million years ago and they are very important and well adapted to the terrestrial ecosystem. Let's look at the major characteristics of gymnosperms. Gymnosperms have naked seeds which are exposed on the cone and are not enclosed in a fruit. They have no flowers. The reproduction occurs without a flowering structure. They are mostly woody. They have thick and woody stem. They have well-developed vasculature with xylem and phloem for the transportation of water and nutrient respectively. They have major adaptations for conserving water, that is through the presence of needle-like or scale-like leaves. The pollination in these kind of plants mainly occurs through wind. Thus, they are not dependent on water for the fertilization of sperm with the egg. The gymnosperms are further divided into four major groups: Cycadophyta, Chinchophyta, Gnatophyta, and Coniferophyta, and we'll talk about the prominent features of all these groups in the subsequent slides. The Cycadophyta usually look like the palm trees with large, stiff, and compound leaves. They are predominantly present in tropical and subtropical regions. They are dioecious, that means the male and female plants are separated with cones on both of them. They are among the oldest seed plants with the date back to about 250 million years ago. Common examples are Cycas revolta and Xenia species. Chinchophyta have only one extant species called Ginkgo biloba. They are considered the living fossils that dates back to 200 million years and they have not undergone prominent evolution. They have distinct leaves which are in the shape of a fan with unique vein pattern. These plants are also dioecious, which means that they have separate male and female trees. Female produces fleshy seeds. They are highly tolerant to pollution and urban environments, and they are valuable sources of different kinds of medicines, and they are also used as ornamental plants. Gnatophyta are further divided into three genera: Gnatum, Ephedra, and Wilwitchia. They are found in diverse environments from tropical forests to arid deserts. Ephedra is a main source of ephedrine, which is used as medicine. Gnatum is found in tropical rainforests and they have broad leaves. and Welwitschia are desert plants with only 2 long persistent leaves. Next group is Coniferophyta. These are the largest group among gymnosperms. They include pine, spruce, fir, cedar, and redwood. They have needle-like or scale-like leaves to reduce the loss of water. They are strong and woody trees. Their reproductive structures are cones with separate male and female cones. They are found in diverse climates, especially dominant in the cold forests. They are the major source of timber, paper, and resin. Let's look at the evolutionary significance of gymnosperms. Gymnosperms are believed to have evolved 300 million years ago during the late Carboniferous period. They were mainly prevalent in the Mesozoic era, and that period is also called the age of cycads and conifers. The development of seeds has allowed their survival and reproduction in the diverse and dried environments. They are well adapted to reproducing in the conditions that do not have enough water, and their pollination can occur through wind. They paved the way for the evolution of flowering plants called angiosperms through the seed-bearing reproduction. Now let's look at the structure of gymnosperm seeds. Seeds have a seed coat, which is the protective outer layer that shields the embryo from environmental damage. Embryo is the developing plant that will grow into the new gymnosperm. It includes embryonic root, stem, and leaves. The seeds have stored food in them that is used by the embryo during germination. But the seeds are usually naked. That means they do not have any fruit around them for protecting them. Now let's look at the reproductive cycle of gymnosperms. The dominant phase of gymnosperms is the sporophyte phase, which is diploid. They produce male and female cones. The male cone produces pollen with male gametes in the microsporangia. The female cone contains the ovule with female gametes on the scale. The pollination can occur through wind that carries the pollen to the female cone. Then the pollen tube is formed that allows the sperm to fertilize with the egg. The fertilized ovule then forms the seeds with an embryo and food supply inside it. The seeds released from the cones are dispersed by the help of wind or animals. The seeds then germinate to form the whole plant, which is a sporophyte. The male cone is also called the staminate cone. Their function is to produce and release pollen grains, which contains the male gametes. The male cones are smaller, softer, and typically located on the lower branches of gymnosperm trees. Each male cone has numerous microsporangia, which produces pollen through the process of meiosis. These pollens are adapted to be lightweight, so they can be carried around by the wind for landing on the female cone for fertilization. The female cone is also called the ovulate cone. Their function is to produce and house ovules which contain the female gamete. Structurally, they are larger and more robust than the male cone, and they are located on the upper branches of the gymnosperm tree. Each scale on the female cone bears ovules that after fertilization develop into seeds. The pollen from the male cone lands on the ovule, leading to fertilization and formation of seed. The fertilized ovule matures within the cone and eventually release the seeds for dispersal. Now let's look at some key adaptations of gymnosperms. Gymnosperms have needle-like or scale-like leaves to minimize the loss of water, especially in the cold and arid climates. They have thick cuticles which also help in preventing the evaporation of water. They have deep root system to access the water from soil in a more efficient manner. They have thick bark which also help in preventing the loss of water and protect them from extreme environmental conditions. They have reduced their dependency on water for fertilization, and the pollen can be carried around by wind for fertilization. They have cones which are protective structures for protecting the seed and facilitating the dispersal of seeds. Economically, gymnosperms are a major source of timber used for construction, furniture, and paper formation. They are also a rich source of resin. They provide turpentine and other chemicals which are used in varnishes, adhesives, and medicines. Gymnosperms are also edible. They produce pine nuts. They have medicinal properties, as we see that the ephedra is a source of ephedrine, and ginkgo biloba is also a traditional medicine used in several home remedies. These are also used as ornamental plants, for example, cedars and cypress. Gymnosperms have prominent ecological role. They form the forest ecosystems, they sequester environmental carbon dioxide, and through the process of photosynthesis, they enrich the environment with oxygen. They stabilize the soil because they have deep roots and they can hold the soil and prevent soil erosion. They also contribute to water retention and replenishing groundwater, and they have diverse biodiversity and provide habitat to different kinds of species from insects to mammals. Several of gymnosperm species are threatened today, primarily because of the loss of habitat, deforestation, and climate change. Ginkgo biloba and cycads, which are the prominent living fossils, are at the risk of extinction because of the loss of their natural habitats. Botanical gardens, protected reserves, and seed banks are the efforts to conserve the diversity of these plants. There is a high need for sustainable timber harvestation and reforestation so that these plants can be conserved. Ongoing research and educational efforts are made to increase the awareness and enhance the conservation of gymnosperm species. Gymnosperms are widely studied for exploring the genetic diversity, adaptation, evolution, and for their medicinal properties, their impact on climate change, and their ecological benefits, especially their relationship with mycorrhiza fungi, which supports nutrient uptake and ecosystem health. Now let's summarize what we have studied in this lecture. Gymnosperms are non-flowering plants with exposed seeds typically on their cones. They are woody, they have needle-like leaves, they can undergo wind pollination, and they are adapted to diverse habitats. They are important for their role in carbon dioxide fixation and biodiversity support and stabilizing an ecosystem. They are an important source of timber, resin, food, and medicines. Several conservation efforts have been made to conserve the biodiversity of these plants, and the ongoing research focuses on studying the genetics, chemical resilience, medicinal property, and evolutionary significance of gymnosperm plants.